Hey everyone, we're finally off cooldown. I'm Cal with Newt and Del once again after quite a long break. What were you guys up to?
Well,
You know,
yeah, go ahead. I'll go first.
we've just been busy with keeping up with pandemic. Not really much has changed over the past year, but personally, I was recovering from illness, specifically from COVID. So I tell everyone now to go get vaccinated if you can. I just wasn't able. I didn't have the luxury of it beforehand, but yeah, it's not fun. So,
For
what have you been up to, Newt?
yeah, thankfully you're back with us. For those who would remember our last episode last season, we didn't have Del around, so thankfully he's back and healthy and with us with a new hairstyle. If you're on Facebook, you'd notice that we have some new looks for the opening of this new season. But for me, what I've been up to for the past month, well, I've been keeping up with my backlogs. I've been really struggling to play the games that I'm supposed to be playing because I've been receiving a lot of review copies and I don't want to waste them, so I play them when I receive them and write reviews when they're about to come out for those games. So if you're looking for some game recommendations, you can PM our page and I'll try to answer. We have our own recommendations as well. For sure, Cal and Del also have their own recommendations, but I've been playing a lot of video games for work over the past month. How about you, Cal? What have you been up to?
Work. Work has kept me busy like the past couple of months or so, but I think I'm about to have a bit more free time in the coming months. So it should be my backlog should be moving along soon.
Yeah, but I heard that you're going to be much busier this November and December.
Mm, technically, it's continuous work, but it's not like all at the same time. So I am expecting more free time. Hopefully.
Well,
Hopefully you
here's to
get.
hoping.
Hopefully,
We don't want to go on a break again right after we just came out of one.
Oh no.
well, at least we're going to try to have more episodes this season compared to last season, and that's going to be our promise to you guys. And hopefully we can keep that promise. Anyway.
Also, we've got some new content formats upcoming, so you guys should stay tuned for that. But yeah, anyway, today we're gonna be talking about the tournament with the largest prize pool in esports. So it's Dota 2's The International, of course. It's the 10th iteration of the tournament, which had its first iteration way back in 2011. So we've been waiting for it for a year since last year it got cancelled and moved to this year. Actually moved to this August and then moved to this month. So yeah.
Yeah, it's TI. It's that season that all of your friends suddenly go back to playing Dota, and then after the season's over, they stop again.
Relatable, to be honest. I started playing Dota this year after like 2 years break. I only returned this August for TI and then it got delayed, so I guess I kept playing Dota until now.
Yeah, I just
Seasonal Dota
remember.
players.
I just remember this thing that we used to do. Until this TI, our group used to watch TI together almost every year since I think that was TI 7 or TI 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, TI 7 when Team Liquid beat Newbie in the finals, right?
Yeah.
And then because of health protocols this year, sadly we can only do that over at Discord. So it's still fun experience getting to watch it with friends, even if it's just over the internet. But it would have been so much more fun if we can do it in person. So that's why, like what Del said earlier, we urge everyone to get vaccinated so that we can go back to the things that we used to do before the COVID situation happened. But still, there's a lot of things to look forward to this year's TI, and we're going to be talk about those this episode.
Yep. So first off, the group stage has finally concluded. There's a lot of surprises from the group stage. Like I'm personally on the CIS Hopium train. Finally, my CIS boys are all in the upper bracket, so I'm really glad about that. Even if I haven't been following Dota as heavily as before. So finally, the region might get better results this year.
Yeah, it was
How about
definitely
you
pretty
guys?
interesting. Like, I wasn't expecting the results. Like, you know how everyone had sort of like this idea that it was going to be like LGD and EG as powerhouses this TI, and suddenly we see EG in the lower bracket,
Well,
like right out of the gate. Not starting strong there, EG.
at least you're 50% correct with that statement, right? PSG LGD topping their own groups during the group stages and picking T1 as their opponents in the upper bracket, which gives us Team Secret versus OG on the other side of the bracket. And what completes the upper bracket are the Invictus Gaming against Team Spirit and Virtus Pro against Vici Gaming. And as Del mentioned, EG will be down there in the lower bracket going against another supposed powerhouse in the Chinese Dota 2 scene, Team Elephant, which is like a superstar organization or like superstar team composed of um it's hard to call them washed up, but they were the strongest players from yesteryears, and they banded together to form this like super team, but have so far been underperforming based on our expectations. And other teams on the lower bracket are Team Undying going against Fnatic, Quincy Crew going against Team Aster, Beast Coast against Alliance, and the scary part here in the first round of the lower bracket is it's only best of one.
Yeah, the best of one lower bracket opening matches are always nerve wracking, especially for like teams like Beast Coast, who's like the only team left in the region, and then they could go home in like one match. This is like the one match to decide everything. So usually you see the cheese strats come out during the lower bracket best of ones.
Yeah, I actually don't know how to feel about that lower bracket BO1 there between Beast Coast and Alliance, because honestly, I thought Alliance would be performing much better than they actually did in the group stages. Like, I'm a big fan of Nico Baby, and I don't know what happened to them. Like, their performance was so subpar that I don't know who's gonna win between VC and Alliance there, and who's gonna get booted out immediately at this very start of the actual main stage of TI.
There's a lot. Actually, even the Fnatic versus Undying one is kind of tough to call for me. I like both these teams, but
I'm also a fan of both the teams, but I think my vote goes to Undying on this one. As for the C Pride, I'm just gonna put that all into T1 because they're already in the upper bracket.
move all the hype train to T1, I guess. How about you, Newt? What do you think about the lower bracket best of ones?
Well, there's so much talent in TI that it's really hard to discount any of these teams. And while we have high expectations for some of the teams to perform really well, a lot of teams just surpass our expectations and do better than what people give them credit for. So it's not like it's not like some of the teams are underperforming. It's just that some of the other teams that people don't really pay attention to turn out to be really good. A lot of predictions pointed towards T1 not reaching upper bracket, but we're here now and they're going against the number one, the groups, PSG LGD, and that's frankly one of the more popular teams that people believe will win TI this year. And T1 might even overperform again this time around, and it's not going to be discounting PSG LGD. No one should think that PSG LGD underperforms whenever they lose to T1. It's just that T1 turns out to be better than people expected. And instead of discounting teams for losing against so-called underdogs, we should just be giving more props to the teams who actually outperform expectations from them. So in terms of the lower bracket structure, going back to that topic, well, I think it's necessary at this point because there's still so many teams here and we only have enough time for the tournament before it becomes too dragging. And it might be disappointing to see some of these teams leaving this early in the tournament, but that's how it is in this grandest stage of them all, right? We have to live with the fact that some of the teams will have to leave this early, and it has always been like this ever since. But even if you leave in the first stage or the first round of the lower bracket, you're still bringing home $600,000, and that's nothing to scoff at.
Yeah, definitely. But on a more personal note, I want to know what you guys who you're rooting for in these brackets. Like who do you want to see make their way out of the lower bracket, maybe make it later on, even maybe make it to the grand finals. Like for each of these matchups that we're seeing on day one, who do you think, and I don't mean like basing off of statistics or data or performance in the group stages, who do you want to win in these matchups?
Okay,
Particular
for me,
matchups, or are we talking about for the entire tournament already?
No, just for the particular matchups on day one. Like who do you want to make to like not get eliminated in that lower bracket BO1? And then who do you want to win in the upper brackets?
that's actually really tough for me. Like for Beast Coast and Alliance, I kind of like both teams, but I feel like I kind of want Beast Coast to win just to see SA move further. Their playset is quite interesting, and like they're the only one left from their region, so it's kind of I want to see them do better. And then I think the toughest matchup for me personally would be EG versus Elephant, because I like a lot of the players in both of these teams. I kind of expected EG versus Elephant to happen like way deeper into the bracket, or like Elephant versus LGD or EG versus LGD to happen later on. But apparently, one of them is going home after one match. So, man, it'd be really tough to see EG go this early, but I actually wouldn't mind Elephant moving on, because I really like the players in Elephant too. I mean, I rooted for LGD last year, so
So that's why you're reacting earlier when I said they're old players washed up. Yeah, I
I
just
mean,
can't
they're not
find the
that
term. They're
old.
not washed. They're not really washed up, you know. So no need to be hurt there. I just can't find the proper term, but they're like the best.
They
The best players of different teams come together to form a super team, but they've so far.
Yeah.
yeah, but the thing, super teams, just because you have the best of the best, that doesn't always mean that they can work together, right? We've seen that before, and
Yep.
Actually,
was
what
it?
we're
The
seeing
first
right now with
secret, right?
Elephant doesn't feel
Yeah, the
right.
first secret.
And yes, so what we're seeing in the performance so far of Elephant's exactly the same how Team Secret in its first iteration was. Elephant doesn't seem to have the right chemistry, or their picks don't really reflect well on their picks aren't exactly the picks that we know those players for. We were talking about that earlier. You were giving proper examples, Del. I just can't remember them from the top of my head.
Oh, yeah. There was a game earlier between it was LGD and Elephant, I think. So it's like punish Somnus and punish FY, getting back at their old org against their old org. But Somnus just wasn't performing really well at mid earlier with his Storm Spirit, and he just collapsed against Nothing to Say's Dragon Knight. And I think that was the shortest game of the group stages and of TI so far at 18 minutes.
17 minutes.
17 minutes.
17 minutes, yes.
Yeah, like, I was watching that live, and it was pretty wild to see it happen, because this was Somnus. Specifically, I was talking about Somnus because it's not a performance I've seen from him. Like, to be beaten that bad in mid by a DK, it's kind of
You
weird.
could call it like a low point in his career. Just and you even mentioned specifically how he took that loss. He quit right immediately. They called GG.
Oh yeah, as soon as they called GG, Somnus just disconnected straight up from the game. Like you could tell he was upset by that performance.
And well, that loss really cemented their position in the lower bracket. And there's another match that they had earlier where they faced up against Quincy Crew, and they lost those games as well. But they didn't give up so much in that matchup. They went against Quincy Crew, and their second game actually went for over an hour. So they weren't really giving up yet then, but there are just some teams who are outperforming them right now.
Yeah, I do agree though that it was kind of a hard decision on my part. Like, who do I want to win between EG and Elephant? Because I'm also a big fan of Arteezy, but I don't know. Something about me tells me that I would prefer Elephant to win this time. Also, because as much as I'm a fan, I'm a fan of Arteezy, but you know about the Arteezy curse, and like, I feel like this time it's hitting a little early.
This is very early though. My God, they were like coming into TI. They were like the second most favorite team to win, right? Everyone was talking about it's gonna be EG versus LGD.
Yeah, everyone. Like coming into TI before the group stages, everyone was saying like, "Oh, it's gonna be between LGD and EG. It's gonna be between LGD and EG." And now we see EG on the brink of elimination right now on day one. Like, it's right after the group stages. So that's something that nobody expected.
And
And I think
they,
it's pretty interesting
you know,
also that happened.
the most interesting part here is EG were actually performing really well early on in the group stages, and they actually lost to very, you know, unassuming
Unexpected.
teams, unexpected teams, and the memes on regarding that were really on point. You know, the meme where I know I can't beat you, but he can, and they're pointing at what team was that who EG lost to again? They were losing
You mean
to
1-1
really
against Undying,
unexpected
or
teams. Yeah, yeah, they went 1-1 to Undying, which led
that
them to going
that's
to
what
the
brought
lower
them down to the
bracket.
lower bracket. Had they 2-0'd that, it would cause a bunch of tiebreakers, and then they wouldn't have been secured their they wouldn't have immediately been secured their place at the lower bracket. But that it ended up going that way. So and I
Yeah.
was actually watching the game. They had lost the first game, or wait, I don't remember if it was the first or second game. But yeah, that one of those games, one of those two games in the 1-1, I can't remember which one it was. Arteezy was farming so well on the Naga Siren. He had the most last hits of the group stages so far, and they still lost. So that was kind of weird because it looked like things could have been in their favor until they were like team fight after team fight of just EG losing.
Yeah, on day
So,
1, they 2-0'd Aster, they 2-0'd T1. They split with they lost 2 games to IG, and then they split the series against Alliance. So you see, they were losing to very unexpected foes. They went 1-1 against Alliance.
On
They
one against OG.
1-1 against OG. They also dropped one, as mentioned, um, against Undying, which sent them to the lower bracket. These are, teams that you would expect EG to beat easily, but instead
They,
they were like doing really well against the stronger foes, and when they're facing against the other teams who are right now in the lower bracket against them, it's like they're meeting their match, and those lower bracket teams were actually the reason why they're also in the lower bracket.
they also got 2-0 by VP though.
Oh yeah, well,
well, VP is in a
VP
really
is really
strong
strong.
position right now.
So that's not really unexpected. They also lost against IG, I think, on day 1. So yeah, the top teams from the upper bracket gave EG 2-0s.
And
Yeah,
the Undying
what about
versus
you?
EG one though. The NA teams bringing each other down.
There can only be one.
Well, for me, Del said he's a big fan of Arteezy. I'm a big fan of Arteezy's curse. And I really want EG to beat Elephant here and reach all the way to the grand final so that they could lose and Arteezy can once again be second place in
Oh
a
my
major tournament so that we can keep the Arteezy curse alive, ladies and gentlemen. That's all I want
Very
from this
important, very
tournament.
important.
And I want them to face OG in the finals. So, needless to say, I think OG will beat Team Secret, then they'll beat Invictus Gaming in the upper bracket round 2, all the way to the upper bracket final. They'll be beating T1. Yeah, you heard it here first. T1 will reach the upper bracket final. They'll face OG there. And then T1 will fall to the lower bracket final, where they will be facing against Evil Geniuses. Well, unfortunately, Evil Geniuses will be banning Husker, because why won't you? And they'll beat T1 because of that. So my finals will be EG against OG, which EG will lose to keep the Arteezy's curse alive.
And that's TI according to
And
Neutral
that's
right
TI
there.
according to Neutral. You heard that here first. That's what's
Place your
gonna...
bets, everybody. This is how it's going down.
wow.
So what about you, Cal? How do you think it's going down? Like, who do you want to see in the finals, and who do you think is gonna get there, or come close?
Okay, so before the group stage, I was riding on some like China copium, right? I really wanted to see LGD versus Elephant. Like Wings 2.0 versus last year's LGD 2.0 fighting off for the Aegis. So that finally it'll be an Eastern team winning TI again after a long reign of Western teams. So to bring balance back to the Force. But I don't know if Elephant can reach the end this time. Maybe I'll just go back to like my oldest, the one true love, CIS Dota. So I'm gonna go all in on VP this year.
Yeah, actually, I wouldn't fault you for thinking that this VP
It
team is
is.
very young, but they're also really strong.
Yeah,
I
they've been
think,
looking really strong in the
yeah,
group
they're
stages.
really looking strong. It's just that some of their losses felt like them feeling so frustrated over some clashes that didn't go their way. So I think it's more of them having to manage their emotions still, because a lot of the veterans have a lot of experience in losing and they can take it better. But this VP team, still, I can see some um, shades of disappointment from them, of frustration whenever they lose clashes or whenever they lose matches. If you see any series where VP lost game one, I think there's a high chance for them to lose game two of that series because of their frustrations. So while VP is really strong, I think if the most important thing to do to them if you're facing them here in TI is to win game one. If you win game one, you're going into game two and game three with very big advantage against this young team.
I mean, it's not necessarily always true. They went 1-1 against OG after throwing in massive lead in the group stages. Like, they had, I think the ending score was OG winning with 35 kills on their team, but VP threw away
Oh
what was like a
yeah.
20,000
Oh
plus
yeah,
Wait,
gold
yeah.
lead.
this
I
They
saw
is
ended
this
with
one.
53 kills, but they
this
lost
is
the game.
this is the double throw series, right? Because VP was winning game one, OG
Yeah, and
was
OG was
way
winning
way
game two.
behind, and then OG was winning game two, and then VP turned it around. So yes,
Yeah, so
sometimes that's the
but,
case.
but, but in game one, they brought out a really interesting strat that we hadn't seen previously in the group stages. I don't know if it's like a VP only thing, but they're the only ones who've used it so far, where they're running like Dawnbreaker 1. Then they've got like a Pause 3, Dark Seer, and a Bounty Hunter, and they just go wild around the map. But the problem with it was that they didn't have any pushing power, because your only source of right-click damage is Dawnbreaker. VP's been pulling out some pretty interesting strats, and I do want to see where they go this tournament. Like, GPK was playing in the two games that they were up against EG, where they completely swept the floor with them. GPK was playing Earth Spirit mid, not Earth Spirit, sorry, Earth Shaker mid against both Abed's Ember Spirit and Abed's Void Spirit, and he won both of those mid lanes, and they won both of those games.
I'm actually excited to see if they're going to bring those pocket strats to the playoffs, or if those are just what what those are just like a preview of what they have in store for us. It's interesting to see what kinds of strategies Virtus Pro will be bringing to the table now that they are in the upper bracket of the playoffs.
Yeah,
Eh,
being
Right,
in the
so
upper bracket does give you like more leeway to experiment, right? Because you can still have like fall back to the lower. It won't
I,
initially eliminate you.
I don't know if that's the right strat, but yeah, that's certainly one thing you can do with the upper bracket advantage.
and
But anyway, Kyle,
actually,
sorry, were you done explaining like your choices, like how you thought TI would go down?
Oh, if I was gonna like run down the whole bracket, I am expecting IG to win versus Team Spirit, and then they would face OG. I mean, I'm not a fan of OG, but let's face it, they're really strong during TI, so I'll give them the win there. And then it'll be LGD versus VP immediately, so that brings T1 and then Vici down to face. Oh man, sorry Fnatic, but I also believe Undying might will probably win the lower bracket best of one. And then actually Quincy Crew versus Team Master we haven't talked about too
oh
much.
yeah, this one's a
Oh yeah, we
tricky
have.
one. Both teams showed a lot of promise in their respective regions. Actually, there was a time when Team Aster was the strongest team in China during the season, but they were falling off towards the end of the season. And so far here in the group stages, they haven't been doing too well as well. Quincy Crew for a time was also the lowest ranking team in the group stages, but they managed to go over the South American team in their group and managed to head to the lower bracket. And well, both teams are underdogs here, and I can't tell who's the bigger underdog between the two.
Honestly, I think between the two of these, Quincy Crew seems like the bigger underdog to me. But I do also think that Aster will be the one to win out this one. Their first, I think it was the first two or first one day of the group stages, they had a sub in mid laner. Don't remember exactly why, but as soon as they got their mid laner back, if I'm not mistaken, that was also an Aster 2-0'd OG in the group stages. and they've kind of had this sort of on and off thing where sometimes they'll perform really good, and other times they'll just get flattened. And I don't really know what to attribute it to, but I feel like Aster has been performing better than Quincy Crew overall.
If I was gonna go heart over head, I would still pick Aster to win that because Lanham is in that team, Monet is in that team. So Lanham has been like the oldest player at TI for like 3 years already or something. Yeah, so let's get some old blood in this game. TI has slowly been like a changing of the guards for the past few years. More and more of the old legends are retiring, not TI anymore. So yeah, so I'll probably put Aster up to win that series. So they'll be facing Team Secret, and then Undying will be facing loser of A. So that would be
That would be
Team Spirit. Yeah. And then between Beast Coast and Alliance, I want Beast Coast to win, I guess. And then between EG and Elephant, I choose Elephant. So that would leave the upper bracket. I think LGD will still like win out the upper bracket, and then VP will make their way to the finals through the lower bracket.
We're all discounting Team Spirit, but actually Team Spirit has a very strong mid laner in the form of Toronto Tokyo, who has the highest KDA rating. So just putting it out there right now.
Yeah, but we're kind of going head over. I mean, we're going hard over head right now. This is more of like who we think, who we want. A little bit more than statistics, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I've been a big fan of VP since their solo era, and that was like they were dominant for 3 years, but always failed at TI. So maybe it's finally time for them to do the other way around and not dominate the DPC as much, but do
Give
better at TI. Yeah. Man, imagine the CIS getting the Aegis after, like, during the very first TI and during the 10th one. What a story. Okay, that'll be my story for TI. VP takes it all.
I see.
Okay,
Who are
so-
they facing again in the finals in your
Yeah,
LGD.
who do you want us to think? LGD.
LGD.
I
Classic.
see. VP LGD. That's a
It's
Well,
a
we
classic China versus CIS.
yeah, but we haven't seen that in a long while. I think that's the last time we've seen that was TI3, wasn't it?
TI3
Oh,
was
TI2. Well, because we had Navi
Navi
versus
versus IG.
IG. And then after that it never happened again, right? CIS against China in the finals.
Yeah, because after TI3 Navi kind of
Became meh.
yeah, and VP didn't show up in finals. I mean, they dominate the season and then tank at TI.
Yeah, so
Feels
so for Cal, this year is VP's year. Well,
That's a lot of copium, but yeah, if
No,
it's not
well-
going to VP, I want LGD to take it.
I'm not actually thinking it's a lot of copium because VP, as Del and I have mentioned earlier, they look really strong and they're really scary this TI. And if they do reach the finals, I think they have high chances of winning as long as they keep their head together. I wouldn't mind if VP wins actually. As long as they beat EG in the finals, I'll be fine.
So anyone, as long as
anyone.
LGD is
Goes second.
second.
As long as EG goes second, I'll be superbly happy.
I see. What about you, Del?
Well, I'm a pretty big OG fan through and through, so I'm holding it in there. My biggest copium is still that I want to see the three-peat.
Wow.
Because, defending champion twice in a row, why not give it a third? Give Sumail another win.
So
And yeah, so I imagine that OG will win against Team Secret here, and then they'll be up against IG.
correct me if I'm wrong. If ever OG wins here, it's going to be Sumail who's going to be the first champion or the first two-time champion from two different teams. Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Amazing. And they're going to be crowning a new champion in the form of Saxa as well.
Yeah,
I believe
OG wasn't.
Saxa was a runner-up in one tournament before. I think while
He was in DC.
Yeah, in Digital Chaos when they got
Yeah.
beaten by Wings. I think
Yep.
that was TI5 or
Six.
TI6.
Yeah, like, OG wasn't looking too strong leading into TI, but then the new OG as we know it, like the previous roster that they had. They never won any majors. They just got the TI, won it, came back
They
the
got
next year, and won
really
it again.
lucky, man. In the Western Europe qualifier, they like, well, who did they beat again? Was it Nigma? I think they beat Nigma. Let me check for a bit.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah,
I think it was.
no,
Yeah, I
no, no,
think
it wasn't Nigma. They beat Tundra Esports, and it was.
Oh yeah. It was pretty close.
It was actually 3-2. We almost lived in a
Oh, this was the
timeline.
reverse sweep.
It wasn't a reverse sweep. They were
It
trading
wasn't.
blows. Yeah, and we almost lived in a world where Tundra was going to
Was
be
a
in
TI.
TI.
Damn.
And OG, I don't know what's up with them. They just seem to perform really well whenever it's TI. For some
I think
odd
that's when they
reason.
bring out that's when they bring out their big boy pants. You know, they're all serious. But I guess the new lineups, it's pretty good. I still miss the old one. I miss Jerax a whole lot, especially. But I think Sox has actually been like he's so understated. Like nobody really talks about. Everyone talks about Sumail. Everyone's talking about Sumail's performance, but I think Soxa is absolutely amazing. Like as a grounded position four, he's not Jerax. He's not Mr. Playmaker, but he does what he needs to do, and he does it really well. Like I don't see any gaps in the way that he plays. Or that's obviously just the OG fan in me speaking, but I've really fallen in love with Soxa as a player, even if he's so different from Jerax. Yeah, so I think I want OG to take it, and I think originally I thought that they're gonna be against LGD in the finals. But then the more I thought about it, and seeing the way that VP was playing these past few days in the group stages, I realized that I think LGD is going to make it, but I want it to be VP versus OG in the finals. Just because VP does things a little bit unconventionally with some of their strats, and sometimes it works out. And I think I want to see that more in the grand finals, more than I want to see, like, PSG, like LGD, even in like TI8, they were like this really clean cut, very practiced. They knew what they were going to do. And it's very classic Dota. Like they're not trying to mix up or make some kind of weird combinations or some weird team compositions work. They know what their roles are and they do it really, really well. Their executes are amazing, but I kind of want to see the weird strats that VP's been pulling out. I want to see that in the grand finals, and I want to see that up against OG, because OG is also known to do some questionable, quote unquote, questionable strats. And then that'll definitely, after that, it would definitely shake up the meta of like our pub games. We'll start to see some really weird shit in pubs.
Actually, OG's already apologizing on their social media for all of the future IO3s,
IO3
and Weaver
and
4s,
LC5s.
LC5s. They're
Well,
gonna
the
see.
Weaver 4 wasn't
Sorry,
like the
yeah,
OGs.
not
Yeah, it was
Weaver 4, the LC5s, LC5s, and the IO3s, which frankly weren't working for them either. And I don't know why people would be doing that in pubs if it's not even workable for OG most of the time. But yeah,
I actually have this tiny bit of upper bracket copium.
what?
I want to see T1 kick LGD down to the lower bracket.
Oh, we all know that's what's going to happen if we believe in, if we actually go over the stats. T1's going to the finals and they're gonna beat out everyone.
Oh, they're gonna beat EG.
They're gonna beat everyone. Because no one's going to ban Husker, and they'll just keep picking Husker, and they'll be surprised that Cookie's back at mid, and they'll be letting it be and go like, oh, okay, Cookie's back in mid, probably not a big threat, and then they lose, and no one's gonna bother to ban Husker.
As for the lower bracket, I'm still really torn. I'm really torn between EG and Elephant, who I want to win between those two, because I feel like out of these 4 matchups, aside from Undying Fnatic, well, actually, now that I think about it again, there are 3 of the matchups in the lower bracket that I'm really invested in, like EG versus Elephant, because I'm a fan of EG, and I'm not that big a fan, but I'm a fan of EG, and I'm also interested to see what's going on with Elephant, because it's got Somnus, you got FY, you've got all of these all-star players in there, and it's kind of weird to see that one of these, like, I would consider them to be like major powers, right?
Yeah.
One of them's just gonna go like that, just like that at the beginning of TI. Same thing with Beast Coast and Lions. Beast Coast, because they're like the SA underdog. They're the only one of SA that made it this far, and they've been performing pretty well. Like, especially for a team that we didn't really expect to perform the way that they did. And then of course there's Alliance. Like I said, I was a fan of Nico Baby. I am a fan of Nico Baby, but they've been performing so bad. I really don't know how to feel about that matchup, but I feel like my gut's telling me Beast Coast is gonna win that one, and Alliance is gonna get kicked out.
Well, just a
tomorrow.
quick vibe check, since we're talking about Alliance going to the airport again. If ever Alliance does lose in this first round in the lower bracket, do you think it's time for S4 to retire, or do you actually think he will retire after this TI?
I feel
He's,
like there's money in playing even if you don't win.
that's true. He's the only one of the TI3 Alliance team that's still playing, right? Everyone else retired already. Loda, Bulldog, Ake.
The A in Alliance stands for airport.
Well, PPD almost, but he just didn't qualify for
Wait,
TI.
PPD is from AG.
Oh, is he still up? Oh, wait, no, sorry.
Speaking of PPD,
Oh,
like
right,
you know
sorry.
how everyone's saying that, like, you know how PPD was coaching Alliance?
Oh, he's coaching Alliance?
He was. They don't have a coach right now.
Yeah,
People are
that's
saying that since PPD left, Alliance has been playing like trash.
that's where the
Wow.
confusion came from. Yeah, but PPD, one of the old guards who just wouldn't let playing go. You know?
I see. I think some players really shine as coaches more. So I don't know if S4 is the kind of player to turn coach. But maybe he'll consider hanging up his keyboard. Man, S4 had a really good run though.
Well, yeah,
He played
moving
so many
on.
roles. But
Moving
yeah.
on, Del, you were saying for the lower bracket.
Between Beast Coast and Alliance, I kind of feel like Beast Coast is winning out for me. Like I want to see them go the distance, even just to make it like, you know, pre-finals, fight their way to maybe day 3, day 4. That'd be pretty interesting. Quincy Crew and Aster, not too sure. Didn't follow them enough. Between the two of them, I've been following Aster more than Quincy Crew through the group stages, and I think Aster's gonna win. And Undying and Fnatic, again, sorry C region, but I want to see Undying take this one.
Yeah, the best Scorpion would be T1 and Fnatic in the finals. That's going to be really
That's
sweet.
a lot of coping.
That's a lot of coping.
That would require T1 to stand up for bracket the whole time.
And
Fnatic
Fnatic not to lose a
it
single
would require
game.
Fnatic to climb through all the way through the lower bracket. But
Yeah.
you never know. They could pull an OG, right?
Yeah, that was one of OG's runs, right? A whole lower bracket run.
Yeah, I think that was the TI8 run, wasn't it?
Yeah, well,
Yeah, the
They,
first.
they made
their
it through
first stages.
quali. They entered through qualies into the lower bracket, and they fought all the way until they made it into the finals with LGD against LGD.
the only difference is I don't think Fnatic gets a buff every TI season, unlike OG, who suspiciously gets real good when it's TI time.
Maybe
I feel
that's
like TI
really
is the
how
only
they've
thing
been
they take
playing.
seriously.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that isn't the case for their first Aegis, but their previous one, it might be that they really were saving for TI.
You know, you never really know. It's hard to tell if you know how OG has this amazing ability to come back, and they also have
Yeah.
this amazing ability to throw.
Yeah.
It's like this weird duality. It's like they can have a massive lead and then suddenly like lose 3 fights in a row, and then they just lose the game from there. Or they can be like 20k behind, like what happened against VP, and then they can still make it back and win the game somehow. So it's really, I don't know, it's inconsistent. So I don't really know what to feel. Still a fan though. Hate me.
All right, so let's jot that down again so we can call each other out after TI is over.
Well, I
So-
think it's 2-on-1. Both I and Del think that OG is going to win this one, and Cal thinks
VP is gonna win.
I think LGD is gonna win,
Yeah.
but my heart wants VP to win.
Well, realistically, I don't know if OG is going to make it because I want them to make it, but I really feel like it's gonna be between LGD and maybe VP in the finals, and the OG is like, or maybe LGD and IG, and then OG is like probably gonna get eliminated in like the third before the grand finals, like right before the grand finals.
oh wait, so who's your pick then?
My
for
pick,
OG?
my pick. If we're following what I want, my heart, if we're following my heart, it's still OG.
Okay, so that's 2 OGs then. Like you said, 2 OGs and 1 PSG LG. Oh well,
I
no.
thought you wanted T1.
Cal.
Yeah, I thought you were.
Follow your heart. Don't you want the T1?
Oh no,
Yeah,
wasn't
the
it
EG and
obvious
the EG
that I was just hoping all the way
Yeah,
there?
I mean, I'm still just
Nah,
hoping
I still think it's OG. It's going to win. And
OG v EG and then EG loses.
yeah, as long as EG loses in the finals, I'm fine.
Now, imagine that. Like, imagine how Fly would feel after No Tail wins his third Aegis in a row, against him.
Well, you should have thought of that before leaving OG, right?
Well, who knows if OG would have won the first time or
If they
the
hadn't
second
left, yeah.
time. Yeah, if they hadn't left. Maybe it was really Fly's. Fly was the problem.
Well,
Questionable, but could be.
Okay, so that's 2 OGs and 1 VP if we're going hard. But if we're going brain, I really can't pick another team than GD.
Okay.
Before like there's a massive upset and LGG gets eliminated day 3.
and if I'm going to follow, my gut feeling here, I don't want them to win, but I still think EG has it in them to win TI, even with these very stacked odds against them. If they get their head together, I think they still can win.
So you're saying bigger fan of RTZ than the curse?
No, I'm not a big fan of RTZ. I'm just saying that I think they can win. I
Oh,
believe
yeah.
that
I guess
based on
your gut
stats,
is
they
a
can
bigger
win.
fan of RTZ.
Yeah, that's a weird way to put it, but probably, sure.
I actually wouldn't mind EG going to the end. The only reason I didn't like EG was because Sumail was there.
Does
So
that mean you
it's-
don't like OG now?
Well, I didn't like OG.
I'll
even
never
in the
like OG in
beginning.
the first
Yeah.
place.
So now that they got Sumail, I don't like them even more.
At least EG. If EG wins, I wouldn't mind it. That's going to be a really interesting story at the very least. EG's second win with an entirely new lineup. I think that's going to be a first again.
Either way, it looks like it's setting up to be a pretty exciting TI, no matter who you're a fan of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
And
The matches have been great, and the meta's pretty interesting.
the next
So that's-
5 days will be a blessing for us Dota 2 fans, for all of the awesome games that we're going to be seeing. I hope a lot of the games reach best of 3 or 3 games, and then the finals. Hopefully it's not a stomp. Okay, OG, please don't stomp your finals opponent.
You know what else I hope for? I hope we see less Tiny. It's not very fun to watch Tiny, especially Tiny Lycan. Can we just stop? Like, I get it, it's strong, but
Well,
It's
you gotta
boring.
do what you gotta do. OG did that with their IO in TI8. They're not going to be shying away from cheap strats this time around. Nothing's
yeah,
gonna
but that
change.
was in the grand finals. If I see I feel like we're gonna see a lot of Tiny just making it there towards the end. Like even if
Then
like Elder Titan's
I
like the most
really
picked
hope
right
they
now, right?
ban those heroes. Who have they been banning anyway? If not Tiny.
Mm, I think it really is matchup dependent. There's no like first ban where it's always the same hero. Like we saw in the Animajor where it was always TA, Mars, and AA that would just get banned over and over again.
Oh,
Seems
yeah.
like a lot of things are really dependent on who you're up against and what they play.
Well, whatever. I hope they ban Tiny more in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's also my prediction. So please give me the point.
I see. Whatever the
Yeah.
case is, I hope that TI will be fun this year for the playoffs. I hope that there's a lot of surprises. I don't really mind if my predictions were wrong as long as we get good games and pleasant surprises and no, massive throws that's going to make you scratch your head. I'm hoping for a lot of outplays instead of, throw plays. And
Yeah, I'm actually hoping for the same thing. I'm also hoping for like one. I want to see a really, really long game again, like we saw. It was like what? There was like a 64-minute game. I want to see something longer than that. I want to see how pros play with the stupid tier 5 items. I want to see that.
80-minute game.
20 minutes of people with Ex Machinas, with Apexes, Mirror Shields, and Fallen Skies. Can we get
you
that?
don't get to
Like an
see a
80-minute
lot
game?
of that. Yeah, that will be fun.
I feel like we'll see at least one game go like 70 or 80 minutes. It's TI.
Yeah. I'm hoping for that, but the meta has kind of been like a lot of snowballing, even in these pro games. They want to go fast and they want to go hard and just bring it into the game.
I guess we'll see. So, yeah. That's it for us today, and we'll be back on Friday with some new content. It's like a new format, a new kind of content. So please stay tuned on all our platforms. We'll see you after TI and on Friday. So yeah, this has been Cal, Newt, and Q for the Off Cooldown podcast. Say bye, guys.
I'm Del now, but yes.
All right.
Bye.
Yeah. Good night, guys. Stay frosty.